We spend our lives attempting to arrange external circumstances to secure a permanent state of happiness, chasing pleasure and dodging pain in an endless cycle. Yet, despite millennia of progress, the result is almost always the same: a persistent sense of restlessness and dissatisfaction. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali offer a different diagnosis. They suggest that suffering is not a series of external accidents, but an internal condition driven by 5 specific psychological afflictions, called the Kleshas. Until we address the internal environment we are trapped in, the pursuit of external fixes remains a treadmill that leads nowhere. These 5 afflictions are defined as ignorance, ego, attachment, aversion, and the fear of death. These factors operate as a strict linear chain of causation, where each link is forged directly by the one that precedes it. The entire chain reaction stems from a single foundational error in our mental operating system: Avidya, or spiritual ignorance. Identifying this chain reaction is the mandatory first step to dismantling our own psychological traps. Avidya functions as a severe cognitive error. It is the specific mistake of treating the temporary as eternal and the non-self as the true self. The commentator Vyasa explains that the subsequent afflictions are not separate entities. They are merely segments of a single bamboo stalk, all rooted in this initial ignorance. This ignorance immediately gives birth to Asmita, or the ego, the moment we falsely identify our pure, observing consciousness with the limitations of the mind and body. Swami Vivekananda noted that we constantly reinforce this error in our daily language, saying "I am angry" or "I am happy," as if our eternal identity were identical to our fluctuating moods. Once we define ourselves by these temporary physical and mental states, we create a fragile ego that must be constantly defended. This ego generates a psychological pendulum that swings relentlessly between Raga, attachment, and Dvesha, aversion. Raga is the mind flowing toward anything that has previously provided pleasure, creating a desperate, habitual craving for more. Dvesha is the opposite response, an impulsive emotional recoil and deep-seated hatred toward anything that has caused us distress. This pendulum creates a self-sustaining cycle where both the fulfillment of a desire and the experience of pain pull the mind back into a state of dependency. A life driven by chasing comfort and fleeing discomfort is not actual freedom. It is a mechanical existence enslaved to past impressions. The final link in this chain is Abhinivesha, the instinctive clinging to life and the profound terror of death. This fear is so deep-seated that it dominates even the wise and the learned, proving it is a subconscious instinct rather than a logical conclusion. Because we falsely believe we are the physical body, the inevitable death of the body feels like the total annihilation of our existence. This existential fear acts as the primary subconscious force governing almost all human behavior and self-preservation. Our terror of death is the ultimate proof of our spiritual ignorance. It reveals a total disconnection from our changeless, eternal nature. Because the suffering is a structural chain reaction, it can be systematically dismantled. Yogic practice introduces pratiprasava, a process of reverting these afflictions backwards to their source through deep meditation. Ancient texts prescribe specific techniques of breath control and internal focus to steady the mind and overcome the innate instincts of the body. As the fog clears, mastering the life force through these disciplines dissolves the false ego, allowing the true, fearless self to finally emerge. By clearing the fog of avidya, the practitioner stops fighting the external world and destroys the internal engine of suffering. The architecture is clear. Ignorance breeds ego, ego creates craving and aversion, and these manifest finally as the paralyzing fear of death. Mapping this internal logic is the required threshold. Once fully exposed, the cycle loses its automatic power over our lives. If these 5 afflictions shape our present suffering, how do they plant the seeds of our future? In the next episode, we look at karma and how the suffering yet to come can still be avoided.